Welcome to a taste of creating the life you can't see but know is possible. Pardon me while I move my head so I can fit into my Canva background. Creating the life you can't see, the crystal you can't see. So I'm going to now make this background go away because this is a lot. But this conversation is a taste of the telecall series I have starting tomorrow. And I want to dive into some of what I think are the key things to look at, key things I'm aware of. Hold on, let me get my fancy logo up and we'll get started. All right. So speaking of creating a life you can't see, when you go into Canva and try different things, sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. And then you find out when you try it. And that's exactly what it takes to create the life you can't see. You have to try shit. My goodness. So I want to warmly invite you to a 3-part series I have starting tomorrow. And if you're watching this in the future, you can check out crystaljoycrawford.com/shop. Hi, Carrie. Hi, everybody. I'm going live at a very different time today. And so I've been inviting to this series over the last month, and we've been having a lot of conversations in Infinite Being School about this. Some of the conversations we've been having are, how can I create the life that I've always wanted? Tools for the fear of putting yourself out there. Where does fulfillment come from? How I invite better things into my life. And then today I'm going to dive into, on the Crystal Crawford Show, overwhelm and skepticism and doubt about your intuitive gifts. And so all of that was to invite you further into the possibility that you can create the life that you can't see, that you know is possible. And you have what it takes. Now, what do you personally need access to find that courage, that willingness to jump off the cliff? This morning, I was chatting with Andres, and we are both like obsessively entrepreneurial, and we are both type A personalities, which means we see something and we like dog on a bone it, we like want to go after it. And since we've come here to the US, it's a whole different thing. And he's got the availability of resources and possibilities that he didn't have anywhere else. And so he's just like running with it. So one of the things that happens as you're creating what you can't see but you know is possible is that possibilities and opportunities cross your path. So he's really actively going after creating a financial future for us that he can't see, but he knows is possible. And also has this like entrepreneurial bone. So he got into a conversation over the weekend with a friend of his at the place where he's doing some work right now. And they got to like, well, what about this? And what about this? And what about this? And this is so easy. Brought it into my court. And I mostly look at the energy of things. And this is one of the skill sets that I've developed over the years of choosing things and finding out what's going to create a greater future and what's not. So if something lands in my court and it does this like really expansive, bubbly yes thing, then I'm all yes for that thing, even if I don't know how it's going to work. If it doesn't do that thing, then I don't jump into it. So he's going into this idea and it's just kind of going thud, 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 thud. I can see what he's looking at. I can see the good idea. But what I've learned is that good ideas aren't necessarily great possibilities. And how many of you guys have like lots and tons and epic good ideas? Like, oh my God, we could do this and then this and then this and then this, and then it kind of does this thing. And then maybe over the next few days, it like loses steam or the energy goes away, or you let it sit there and it just kind of fades away. That's a good idea. A possibility is, number one, going to kind of keep impressing itself on you. It's not going to be heavy. It's going to be this thing that you're really aware of. Good ideas tend to have a lot of excitement to them. Do you guys know about the difference kind of between excitement and enthusiasm? So excitement is that thing that you have when like you first meet that person and you're like, oh my God, he's the one, or oh my God, this is such a great idea. It does that spike in probably all your hormones, your dopamine, all that stuff. but it doesn't last. You know how people say when you get into a relationship, that initial chemical attraction isn't the thing that lasts, that you actually need to like the person. It's got to work living with them. It's very similar with good ideas, right? They do that spike and then it'll change. So a lot of us misidentify, like we get into this conversation of like, I need to choose things that are going to be fun for me. And we start misidentifying and misapplying excitement and enthusiasm, which is totally normal, by the way. So that's what was happening with this idea. It was kind of exciting. We have some of the funding to do it. The opportunity is there. But the more I looked at like the energy long term, it didn't do the thing. It didn't create a greater future. In fact, it created more stress. And I get that we choose things in our life all the time and then get information about them. And one of the things that I've learned over the last 3 years is like, it's very easy for me to get really excited about something and jump into it and go, it'll work out, and then create a lot of stress for myself. So I'm at a point now where I'm just not willing to choose that anymore. So as I was looking at it, and I was like, you know what? I don't get this is the thing, but I really like the idea. And so, you know, like when you're interacting with another person, they have their own stuff around that. And that's kind of another wrinkle in creating the life you can't see. You've got people in your life. Now, how do you navigate those? And that's something we can definitely dive into on the calls. But what I'm learning to do is really trust myself. And this is probably, if I could gift you anything out of this class that we're going to do, or just being here on the planet, it would be for you to learn to trust you. Now, later on the Crystal Crawford show, I'm going to dive into like overcoming the skepticism and doubt about what you know, which is what we call our intuitive abilities. And like this morning, as he and I were talking about this opportunity, I was using all my intuitive abilities. I'm like sensing things, not necessarily. I did after kind of go into the numbers and like provide my sensation a little bit of logic just for fun. But my sense of things was, And so that's your guidance system in the creation of your life. If you're looking, because this is what happens is you start to ask for something greater in your life, and all these energies start to show up. The universe starts to contribute to you. All these different possibilities and opportunities, and you kind of need to know the difference, start to show up, and you then get to choose. And that's the creation of anything. You start asking for something greater, stuff starts showing up, now you get to choose. Now, are you going to choose from doubt and skepticism and overwhelm and worry and logic, or are you going to choose from something else? If he and I were going to choose this thing based on hope and prayers and wishes, which is what a lot of what we've chosen from, hi guys, then I would probably jump into it. Because one, I care about him. I do believe in him as a person. I want him to know that I believe in him. If I was going to choose from wanting to prove that I care, I would choose that. But I recognize that that's my tendency. I want to choose from I prove that I care. And then I get myself into these tight situations. And so it doesn't really include me. So now I'm including me. And these are all muscles you have to build, right? Now I'm including me. And I'm like, you know what? I do care about you, I believe in you, and this doesn't include me. So I'm going to say no on this. And what else is possible that we haven't considered? How else could this show up? What other choices do we have? If we were going to look at this in a different way, how could we look at this? If this were going to work, what would we need to be aware of? And so I immediately go into more questions. Now, where are you in your process? Are you pre-leap? Are you right in the middle, learning how to navigate yourself? Are you doing a stuck moment? Stuck in doubt, stuck in fear, stuck, any of the energies that provide that solidity that won't let things move? Are you still kind of playing with the idea of getting more active in the creation of your life? Where are you? And I know for me, I am deep into creating something that I can't see. And I'll tell you one more story and then we'll take off. And if you want to come to the call, go to crystaljoycrawford.com www.misidentification.com/what's new. The link is there to register. If you're an Infinite Being School member, you get member pricing. So you've already received a few emails about that. I will send another one today. Yesterday, I am landed in the US and really, really actively creating an on-the-ground business. For the first time in probably 10 years, I have not been an on-the-ground bars facilitator, bars practitioner, access consciousness practitioner for a while. I've been really busy traveling and creating my online business, which is still there and changing. So now I'm really developing something on the ground, which is a completely different way of creating, as a lot of you guys know. I was saying to a friend the other day that this is probably the first time where I have had to, of necessity, listen and follow and choose rather than force something into existence. So what's interesting about online stuff is that it's easier to slip into force. And what I mean by that is, like, I can send another email. I can do more to create more results, which actually doesn't really work, but there is something about deadlines and emails and all that stuff that does create a thing. But when it comes to creating live classes, you really have to learn to cooperate. And so this is something I'm teaching myself right now, and a big ask that I had. I'm like, universe, show me what it is to cooperate and to create something totally different. So with cooperation, which is actually how things work, there's a cooperation between the people buying from you and the people working with you and the beings all around you. Like, things get created from cooperation. You have to do a lot more listening and paying attention and taking action when it's time. So of necessity, you have to really learn to listen to yourself. And so that's been a bigger muscle for me, because it's requiring more patience. It's requiring more presence. And it really is requiring me to trust myself. And I have a third story, actually, that involves Shannon O'Hara, that I'm doing some work with her right now that is also working this muscle. And I can tell you that story on the call. But yeah, what would you have to be willing to choose? So I've chosen, I'm actively contributing, I'm speaking with people, I'm taking actions, but I'm also really listening. What would you have to choose, take action on, listen to, perceive, know, and be in order for what it is you are aware of and unwilling to live without to show up with total ease? And everything that doesn't allow it, times a gazillion, we destroy it and create it all. Right, wrong, good, bad, pop, pop, all nine shorts, boys, poets, ambience. And can I get a shout out for this lipstick color? I'm like in love. Okay, good. Listen, if you like this and you need more, show up on the call, crystaljoycrawford.com/what's new. We start tomorrow. And if you are looking for your member pricing and you can't find it and you know you're a member, just message me. I adore you. Share this with a friend who needs some encouragement in creating the life that they can't see, but they know is possible. And I will see you on the next live.